Previously, in the last chapter, Duke Lawton met Jewel to confirm the engagement proposal with her. However, he has other plans as he noticed a wound in Jewel's neck. Lawton offered to heal Jewel's wound, to detect if she has demonic powers by touching her. With Lawton's divine power, he should feel if there's reaction to evil power. However, there was no reaction. Count Median asked Lawton's analysis on Jewel, and Lawton responded to investigate further and accept Jewel's marriage proposal. Afterwards, Jewel visited and made a contract with the vengeful spirit as her ally, then visited Baroness Ran to show her the crime she had made. Jewel threatened Baroness Ran using his son to make her confess to her sins. Jewel also showed a glimpse of Ghana, the true hell, where all sinners go to make Baroness Ran succumb. Later that night, Hamilton was instructed by Jewel to kill someone with black magic. Jewel controlled Hamilton's body using a voodoo doll and made Hamilton kill Baroness Ran in order to put on a show and a cunning scheme. Continuing the story, Baroness Ran's murder incident caused a commotion within the Garnet ducal household. The guard knights found Hamilton with Baroness Ran, who was lying in the floor full of blood. They then arrested Hamilton right away, since there was nobody other him who was in the scene. Also, Baroness Ran left behind a massive clue that was written with her blood before her death. Hamilton, who was the killer and prime suspect, had a devastated face as he had done the deed. That's because he was Count Lawton's son, and Jewel used him for a scheme. For all the evidence point towards his own father. Thereafter, a loud voice was heard across the dining hall. It was Count Lawton, who was trying to deny all the evidence and accusations towards him. However, even the maids and the knights were skeptical on his words. Count Lawton tried to wriggle his way through and explained to Duke Torn, his father. It was true that Baroness Ran was the one poisoned Duke Torn, but she left behind a clue on who ordered her. Hamilton then killed Baroness Ran in order to silence her and protect his father, Count Lawton, but it was too late. Hamilton was caught before he could clean up the murder scene, and the written message on the floor was left behind. Duke Torn called out his son's name. Count Lawton, who wore a desperate face, answered back. However, Duke Torn had a cold tone that's not befitting for a good father and son relationship. Duke Torn told Count Lawton to settle in his seat and just eat. Count Lawton had no choice but to do so and be obedient. It was true that he was the one behind poisoning Duke Torn, his father, but he still kept on denying it. Of course, Count Lawton was two-faced and scheming, but he is nothing against Duke Torn. Jewel, who was watching all of this in the sidelines, thought that maybe she overestimated Count Lawton. He is just a scaredy cat who was strong against the weak, and weak against the strong. However, this is just the beginning. That's right. Jewel plotted all of this to corner out Count Lawton, but she wished him to live and suffer for a long time. Killing Count Lawton is easy, but Jewel wants to make her revenge more enjoyable. The dining table's atmosphere was quite tense. Still, Jewel was the only one who was delighted, because everything went according to her plan. After all, she has more plans up her sleeve to make her enemies suffer while they are still alive. After the dinner, a thunderous sound was heard as someone threw a wine glass on the floor. It was Count Lawton, who was visibly upset because his son murdered Baroness Ran. A lot of things kept messing up his plans lately. Count Lawton shouted at his aide on why she didn't properly imprison Jewel since Jewel was able to escape. Things haven't been going on Count Lawton's way ever since Jewel escaped and healed Duke Torn. From his point of view, Jewel was just a naive and spoiled brat who knew nothing about the Garnet's politics. However, ever since Jewel found out that Duke Torn was poisoned, she became different. Jewel became an obstacle, and she even developed holy powers as she revived her grandfather. Jewel kept getting on Count Lawton's nerves, because she is somehow connected to all of this. That's why Count Lawton decided to move things faster. With his face full of insanity, Count Lawton made up his mind to kill Jewel and her father, Viscount Enric. He was supposed to be the direct successor and inherit the dukedom when Duke Torn dies. Even so, Jewel messed up those plans. Count Lawton vowed that the Garnet dukedom will be his, no matter what. Baroness Rand's murder caused Count Lawton's successor position to be shaken. Because all of the evidence led to Count Lawton as the perpetrator, the vassals can't trust him anymore. Which means, should Duke Torn pass down his position to the son who tried to kill him, or make his worthless son who doesn't even meet the requirements to be the new successor?
Everything is going according to plan.
Jewel thought that the Duke must have a lot to deal with because of this, but it's within her expectations. She will corner Count Lawton slowly. Jewel called out Maid Rune as soon as she finished her meal. Rune, who was at Jewel's beck and call, responded right away. It seemed that Jewel was preparing to go somewhere. She told Rune that she will be visiting her dear grandfather, Duke Torn. Jewel wanted to be at Duke Torn's side, to suggest things in her favor with regards to dealing the chaos right now. Later that night, Jewel and Rune went out but was blocked by an unexpected person. It was Viscount Enric, Jewel's father, who was waiting for Jewel outside her residence. Jewel greeted her father indifferently and asked for his purpose. Viscount Enric replied that he has something to say towards Jewel. Jewel told Viscount Enric that she is listening on what he has to say. Viscount Enric went ahead and suggested to increase Jewel's guards. Truth to be told, he was very worried about Jewel ever since the murder incident. Jewel asked if Viscount Enric was worried about the assassinations towards her. Of course, Viscount Enric was concerned about his daughter's safety. After the murder incident, the heir of Garnet's position is unsure anymore, and Count Lawton will do anything to stabilize his succession back, even if it means eliminating his own brother, Viscount Enric, and his daughter, Jewel. Jewel was surprised when Viscount Enric said that her safety is his priority. She smiled bitterly as she felt conflicted. When she was still Estelle, her family only pretended to care for her. But now, Jewel's father showed genuine care without even knowing that he is in much more danger than Jewel. Jewel refused the offer. Her father doesn't know that Jewel is very strong now and can handle her own. Jewel told off her father, however, she was suddenly interrupted. Because out of nowhere, Viscount Enric got on his emotions and screamed at Jewel. Maybe because of his wife's death that was caused by an assassination, Viscount Enric was desperate. He wanted to protect Jewel at all costs, and was very worried because of that. It's not like Jewel can't understand his father. However, having too many guards in her side will just get in her way on her revenge. Jewel can't move freely when there are too many eyes watching on her. In the end, Jewel gave in, but she added a condition that there should only be one knight guarding her. Viscount Enric told Jewel that he will be sending a knight named Richard. Jewel was astonished. She didn't expect that her father will send the Garnet's strongest knight. Knight of the New Moon, Richard, was one of the people who could pose a threat even to Jewel. Jewel was distressed. Sending Richard to her would mean that her father will become defenseless. Jewel had no choice but to put another condition towards Viscount Enric. Jewel gave a mysterious obsidian ring to her father. Viscount Enric also noticed the unique pattern of the ring, but was skeptical on why would Jewel give it to him. Jewel only gave a vague excuse on why she handed to ring. Viscount Enric accepted the obsidian ring, but it was too small to fit his finger because it was from Jewel. Still, Jewel told Viscount Enric to keep the ring with him at all times. She also insisted to make his father have the ring with him, even if he doesn't like it. However, Viscount Enric replied that he liked the ring instead. Too bad he can't wear it since it doesn't fit. He smiled inwardly, but Jewel didn't seem to notice it. Thereafter, Jewel asked when will Viscount Enric return back to the kingdom that he manages. Viscount Enric answered that he will not be going back. He also declared that he will be resigning on his job as the Garnet's diplomat as of today. After all, the succession of the Lord of Garnet Duchy will get messier, and he is already involved in it. Viscount Enric vowed that he will protect Jewel, for her not to end up like her mother. Jewel will be targeted more from now on. But what he didn't know is that Jewel is stronger than she looks. It's just a father who was worried of his daughter. After Jewel's meeting with Viscount Enric, she was contemplating things. Truth to be told, there are only a few people that could endanger Jewel with their power. Grand Duke Justin, Demon King Tarantula, Duke Rappel, and Swordmaster Shapirin. Only those strongest people in the Empire can threaten Jewel right now, but she can't possibly tell anyone the truth. Jewel will just use this opportunity to make Viscount Enric her slave, assistant. Afterwards, Jewel finally visited her grandfather. Duke Torn dotes on his granddaughter, so he was delighted, and asked why did Jewel visited him. Jewel shyly replied that she was thinking on how to say it towards Duke Torn. Duke Torn was happy because Jewel invited him, saying that she wanted to go out with her grandfather. But of course, even if he favors Jewel, Duke Torn is a tough nut to crack. Unexpectedly, Jewel then suggested to forgive all of Count Lawton's crimes. It was an absurd request, but Jewel seemed to be firm about it. Duke Torn was dumbfounded. His son, Count Lawton, poisoned him and tried to kill him, so it was an unforgivable crime. Jewel tried to sympathize with her grandfather. However, she told Duke Torn that Count Lawton is still necessary to the Garnet family. Duke Torn's hands trembled as he listened to Jewel's words. He also knows that Count Lawton runs most of the Garnet's businesses, so he also asked Jewel if she knows that Count Lawton was the one who killed her mother. Jewel laughed as she replied that she already knows about it. Duke Torn asked why Jewel insisted on letting Count Lawton go. Duke Torn also told Jewel that Count Lawton will not spare her as long as she is alive. Jewel answered that she also hates Count Lawton and wants to kill him for her mother. Basically, one of them has to die in order to stop the fight. Jewel is aware of this. Still, Jewel emphasized that Garnet family still needs Count Lawton until they find someone else. Duke Torn can't believe it. He didn't know if Jewel was always this kind of a child. Right now, Jewel isn't swept by her emotions and is being calculative. She's not saying to forgive Count Lawton, but she's telling Duke Torn to give her a chance. Right now, Jewel has no authority yet in the Garnet family and needs to grow her power in the duchy. She needs to be strong enough to fight for succession, and that's the time to get rid of Count Lawton. Duke Torn understood Jewel's intentions, but he played dumb towards Jewel. He asked Jewel what is her real goal. Jewel told her grandfather that she wants to stand at the top of anyone else. Then, Jewel declared that she wants to be the next lord of the Garnet Duchy. She's basically saying that she will grow her influence and fight against Count Lawton, the current heir. Jewel also told Duke Torn that she's not asking for help right away, but she wants for Duke Torn to just act as an observer on the things that she will do in the future. Jewel wants to prove that she has the capability to inherit the Garnet's throne. As someone who favors Jewel, Duke Torn asked Jewel why she wants to make things difficult for herself. Jewel replied back with a question instead, implying that Duke Torn isn't satisfied with the Garnet's current situation. She wants the Garnet family to stand above the other dukedoms. Jewel knows how ambitious Duke Torn is, so she is just putting oil to the fire. She triggered her grandfather's hidden desire to reign above other duchies. And as expected, Duke Torn took the bait and believed what Jewel had said. It was a goal that he had forgotten a long time ago. As he got older, and hearing it from someone was exhilarating. Jewel reassured her grandfather that she can definitely do it. After all, she has another purpose, and that is to destroy the other dukedoms for her revenge. The 6 dukedoms have strengths that are known to each other. The Diamond Duchy is known for its enormous wealth, compared to others. The Sapphire Duchy is known for its might, as they hold the largest army in the empire. The Amethyst Duchy has magic, and rules over the wizards in the magic tower. The Peridot Duchy has justice and judgment, as they hold the court system and persecute criminals. The Emerald Duchy has divinity, since they are the incarnation of angels and rules the Holy Church. The Garnet Duchy has authority, because they are close with the royal family. However, this strength isn't really good anymore since the royal family's power is weakening. Jewel told Duke Torn that she will prove her worth. Duke Torn was confused. Jewel said to give her 15 days, to show that it's possible to stand above against other dukes. Also, she wanted Duke Torn to reward her if she can make a change and keep her promise. Duke Torn readily agreed, even though he doesn't have high hopes for Jewel. Jewel answered confidently that she wants to have Baron Baton's fiefdom. It was surprising, but Duke Torn can somehow guess what Jewel was trying to do. Baron Baton's fiefdom was one of the small lands that Garnet family rules and manages. However, when Jewel acquires this land, she will be officially recognized as a successor by everyone. That would also mean that Jewel will have the same standing against Duke Torn's sons. Duke Torn's attitude changed. Even if he dotes on her, Duke Torn isn't someone who just gives away a free ticket. After all, Jewel isn't his direct descendant, but she is only a granddaughter. Duke replied back that he will consider it carefully before giving an answer. Jewel also backed off for now and didn't press any further. She still needs to prove her abilities to become the rightful successor and become not just an empty talk. After discussing things with her grandfather, Jewel went to see someone. It was Hamilton, who was currently imprisoned because he killed Baroness Ran. Jewel was the one who plotted this, but she still greeted Hamilton without remorse. Hamilton was terrified at seeing Jewel, who made him like this. He asked, "What's her purpose of coming here?" Jewel smiled lightly as she replied that she's here to heal Hamilton's injuries. Still, Hamilton wasn't convinced. For him, Jewel was more evil than anyone else. He is suspicious that Jewel is suddenly acting kind and is being good to him. Jewel told Hamilton to come closer so that she could heal him. With such a kind but threatening tone, Hamilton trembled as he slowly came over. Glimmering lights were around Hamilton as Jewel casted a healing spell. Jewel then asked Hamilton about his life in jail. She was the one who controlled Hamilton's body with black magic to kill Baroness Ran. But now, Jewel seemed to be hinting something as she listened to Hamilton's suffering. Jewel told Hamilton that she will be freeing him from prison soon. And that's because Jewel have another task for Hamilton. What task could it be coming from the cunning and devious Jewel?
That's all, folks. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment down below, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will be posting more videos about good reads you may like, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. See you soon.